All right, you guys, so today we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting mixed number word problems. So just looking at some strategies on how to solve word problems involving adding and subtracting mixed numbers. So if we look at this problem, we've got Mr. Mills rode his bike 2¼ miles from his house to school, and then another 1 5/8 miles to his brother's house. How many miles did he ride in total? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull out the important information. And since we're doing math, the important information a lot of times is the numbers. So I'm going to pull out the 2 1/4 and 1 5/8. So I'm going to put this on this new page. 2 1/4 and 1 5, what did I say? 8. 2 1/4, 1 5/8. Then I go back and I look at the problem and I try and figure out what the question is that's actually being asked. So in this case, I'm actually going to underline the question. Question is down at the bottom. How many miles did he ride in total? So if I'm looking at this, he rode 2 1/4 miles from his house to school and then another 1 5/8 miles to his brother's house. I got to figure out what type of problem is this. Is it addition, subtraction, multiplication, division? And in this case, I'm putting these two mileages together, so it's going to be addition. So I actually already have the numbers down vertically, which is what we're going to do when we're adding mixed numbers. So I take the information out, I line it up vertically, and I add. But in this case, since we're working with fractions, I got to have a common denominator. And I'm going to make my common denominator 8. Because both 4 and 8 go into 8. So if my denominator is 8, 8 on the bottom times 1 is going to give me 8. So I'm just going to multiply the top by 1. It's going to stay the same. 4 times 2 is going to give me 8. So I'm going to multiply the top by 2, and I get 2 8s on the top. Now, since we're adding, denominators are the same. I'm going to add the numerators. 5 plus 2 gives me 7 8s. I've got to then add the whole numbers. 2 plus 1 is going to give me 3. So my answer is 3 7/8. So going back to look at that, after I've read the problem, I'm going to pull out the important information. I'm just going to write the numbers down and make sure I understand what they are. Okay, 2 1/4 miles, 1 5/8 miles. And then I'm going to try and figure out, is it an addition problem, a subtraction problem, multiplication, division? In this case, it was addition. Then I added the two and found my answer. Okay, let's try this next problem. I want you guys to use a piece of paper. You're going to pause the video and try this problem. Mr. Roberts told the class that he rode his bike 17 3/4 miles, but in reality, he rode 3 2/4 miles less than that. Or sorry, 3 2/3 miles less than that. How far did he really ride? So now you're going to, again, pull out the important information, try and figure out, are you adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing? Then use the rules that we've learned for adding or subtracting, multiplying, or dividing mixed numbers and solve the problem. So go ahead, pause this recording, and solve this problem. Okay, so you should have pulled out 17 3/4 miles and 3 2/3 miles. Then I ask myself, what is actually going on? Well, the question itself says, how far did he really ride? So that's what I'm looking for. Is it going to be addition, subtraction? If he rode less than he said that he rode, I know that I'm going to subtract. So now we're subtracting. I'm going to get rid of these just so that I have some room because I'm already lined up vertically. I'm then going to subtract 3 2/3 from 17 3/4. Again, working with fractions, I got to have a common denominator. So you should have gotten the common denominator of 12 because multiplying 3 by 4, you get 12. How did I get 12 from 4, I multiply by 3, do the same thing to the top, I get 9, multiply the bottom by 4, do the same thing to its numerator, and I get 8. And notice I made a mistake here. I put an addition sign when in reality that is supposed to be a subtraction sign. Hopefully you guys caught that. But subtraction, 9 minus 8 is going to give me 1. So my fraction is 1/12. 17 minus 3 is going to give me 14. So my answer is 14 1/12 miles. That is how far Mr. Roberts rode in reality. All right? So again, we go back. You look at the problem. You pull out the important information, you underline the actual question, what's being asked, and you figure out what type of problem it is. Is it addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? All right, hopefully this helped, and hopefully you guys will do great on the quiz.